It's May, it gets exciting in May because there are so many people out in the garden sowing and growing now. So how is my plan going for all my sowing and growing and my succession plan to have lots and lots and lots of harvests? Epic. Our garden and our greenhouse is full to bursting. It's important to remember though, we haven't had our last frost yet. We've got about 3 weeks. 3 weeks for that. So not everything is out yet, but I'm going to take you through, show you how everything's going that I have been sowing and growing, and there's a few more bits and pieces I'm going to grow again this month. One, because some stuff didn't take last month, and two, because that's the whole point of my plan. I've got a continual sowing and growing thing happening so that I'm always harvesting. And actually, I've been harvesting for months. Latest one was last night. This bed was full to bursting yesterday. We had lots of green wave mustard and we had a wee bit more of the dragon's tongue mustard. The green wave mustards are gone. We harvested the last of them and put them on some pizza, and there's about 4 bags worth in the fridge that are going to get used up today. We've actually been eating these right through winter. They've been fantastic, but as plants do, they got to the end of their life, they've started bolting, so we've used up what was there and they're gone, but they're being replaced by something else in the bed at the back. Still got lots of the dragon's tongue going though, so we've got heaps. You can see we've got some lettuces in here and some spring onions, but we've got way more than that further up. Oh yeah, radishes. We've got so many different types of radish to grow this year because Kate is a massive radish fan. So thank you to Lindsay for giving us all the radish seeds. If you don't know Lindsay, go and check her out on Instagram. That's her Instagram handle there. So this is, we're calling it the onion bed for obvious reasons. So we've got white and brown onions at this side, doing fantastic. And in between, we've interplanted with spring onions. And you can see we've got 3 rows. In fact, we've got 4 rows of spring onions doing great. What's not doing so well is the garlic. This is the stuff at this side. So you can see there's a big gap here. We basically lost 2 rows worth of garlic that just rotted. One of the things people don't realise, it can be beautiful and gorgeous and sunny elsewhere, and sort of central belt of Scotland, we're still getting hammered with rain. So even though we get some sunny days, it's not enough to dry the ground out. Garlic started rotting because it was too wet. So fingers crossed I can nurse this lot through. These spring onions will all be getting eaten over the next few months, so I need to keep sowing so there's always crops coming. That's the whole point of my growing plan. So I'm going to be sowing some more of them in a bit. And this bed is the one that's going to be a bit exciting because this one will have constant turnover of different things. Hence, if I start back here, I mentioned how I was replacing the green wave mustard. Well, what we've done is we've planted up some perpetual spinach, and that's going to be the new cooking green that we're going to use. These were a recommendation from Liz Grows Happy over on Instagram. The idea being they will just keep going and we'll keep harvesting, hence perpetual. They're not technically a spinach, they're a chard, I think it is, but it's that idea, it's a green leaf you can use in cooking, so that's awesome. You'll also see in here, we've got our little Valian lettuces that are doing awesome, and we've got 2 rows of lamb's lettuce or corn salad. However, we will need to be sowing more lettuces today, and more on that later. There's a story to it. Also in here, as you can see, we've got 3 rows of spring onions, and quite exciting, we've got 2 rows of beetroot and 2 rows of carrots, both at different stages. Again, that's the idea. I'm always sowing and growing at different stages so that when I harvest one lot, there's another lot coming on behind it. That way I should never have nothing. I should never have a dry spell, so to speak. So, this little row of carrots here, these were direct sown, and this is Amsterdam forcing. Back here is a row of carrots that are much bigger. Those are the ones that I brought on in the greenhouse before transplanting them out. Same again with the beetroot. We've got a small row of beetroot here, and then the bigger beetroots. Although these guys are catching up with these ones very quickly. But yeah, everything's looking great. This bed will have a lot of turnover over the year, whereas the bed at the front, once all the greens in there are used, the courgettes are going in that bed. And again, courgettes, we'll be sowing them, and there's another story with that one as well. We have a plan that we use that tells us what we're sowing and when. Now, the fancy term for it is succession sowing, but basically all it means is I don't sow a whole heap at any one time. I sow little amounts, but I sow them on regular intervals so that when I'm harvesting one crop, for instance, I harvested a whole heap of my green wave mustard last night. Now I'm sowing and transplanting the plants that will be replacing that crop. So I've transplanted not green wave mustard, I've replaced it with some perpetual spinach, because as times change, I want different crops. So that all happened yesterday. Today I'm going to be transplanting up a lot of this stuff, and I'm going to be sowing some seeds that didn't take last month, so I'm a wee bit behind, but more of that in a sec. So, of course, I've got my homemade potting mix, which you guys all know I make my own seed mix and potting mix. There's a whole lot of reasons for it I won't go into today, but if you want to know more about it, there's a couple of videos, so I'll put them in the description of the video for you, and you can get my recipes if you want. So first thing I'm doing then, this is my cosmos. As you can see, it's well past the time for these guys to get potted on, so I'm going to get that done. If you guys are very new to gardening or very new to sowing seeds and growing your own plants, I do have various videos all about how you pot on little plants, so I won't go into it today. Again, there'll be a big list of useful videos in the description of this video. You can check it out afterwards. I'll also put a big list of all the seeds and things as well there, so if you're wanting to grow any of the things I'm growing. So I think I sowed these back in, what are we now, sort of going into May. So I think I sowed these back at the end of February. Bit colder then, so this is how they are just now. I can't get them out in the garden just yet because they don't like too much of a frost. So it'll be a few weeks, hence potting them on here, and I'll put them out when they're a bit bigger and the frosts have passed. That's one tray of cosmos. I'm going to have to do this lot now, so I should have 2 trays of these plants, so that is awesome. Next thing then is sunflowers. And yep, we are all growing these this year. Everyone's making an effort to grow sunflowers, basically to show support with the Ukraine. So these are the sunflowers I grow. They're dwarf sunflowers, and I first grew them last year and I fell in love with them. They're little Leos. So they're little tiny, will go in a pot, and are multi-headed, and they just look stunning. So these are going to get put into their own little pots because sunflowers grow fast. So I want to give them lots of space, and once they fill this pot is when I will put them out in the garden. And always a good thing, word of warning for this time of year, if you're putting sunflowers out in the garden, the slugs love them. I had real issues with the slugs in my sunflowers last year. So when I do put these out, they will be going in slug rings. I am not taking any chances. There we go. 8 dwarf sunflowers. Better get labels because you guys know what will happen. Now, I'm not going to take you through every single thing that I'm just transplanting because it's the same process for every single one, but just so you know what I've got going then, these are the broccoletti that you saw me sow last month. I'm going to get these sorted because I've got 2 or 3 in each of these cells, and I'm going to separate them out into 1 plant per cell. The same for the pak choi, again sown at the same time. And that was last month, my little accident where I was meant to be sowing red and green, and I got a bit carried away and I just sowed red, so I'm going to sow some green this month. The exciting one, if you're doing the Grow Along with Eli Tomato challenge, these are my tomatoes. So I have Olapolka, Rotcapture and Lata have all germinated. House, I haven't had a single seed germinate. So I've just got the first true leaves on these guys. So I'm going to pot them on now into proper sized module trays, because these little tiny ones here won't hold enough nutrition once these seedlings proper start growing. So yeah, so that's quite exciting. I've got 4 Olapolka, 2 Rotcapture and 4 Lata, so we'll see how this goes. So that's for the Grow Along with Eli. There is a hashtag in the description where you can share your photos on social media and let everyone see how yours are doing. So I'm going to get all of this done, and then I'll be back with you afterwards to talk about what I'm sowing this month. For you guys, it'll be in a snap. So part 2 then, we've transplanted all of the stuff that had grown and we've put it in either bigger pots or separated out multiple seedlings, all that kind of stuff. That's now all back in on my seed, what do I call it? My seed bed, my watering bed, whatever. I'll tell you guys about that in another video. So this bit is the actual seed sown bit then, and this is where it gets a bit fun. So yeah, and you'll notice this mat thing didn't work because just the wind catches it. So this is Kate's barbecue cleaning tray. I've stolen it. She doesn't know. Right, the main thing I'm going to do today then is, well, no, it's not the main. The 2 things I'm going to do today. Number 1, I've got seeds to sow to catch up because stuff that I sowed didn't take, and I've got more to do. So that's one thing I'm doing. The other thing is, obviously, I've got my plan, so I'm checking to see what needs to be done seed sown wise for this month. Now, catching up wise, there's 3 things I'm going to talk about. This is number 1. This is my 1 Fandango dwarf green bean. Only 1. Stop laughing.
Takes 2 to tango. Fandango.
What was that, honey?
I said it takes 2 to tango, but how many does it take to fandango? 1 apparently.
Yeah, well, just let's go. She's over there, look. What are you making?
A mess.
Right, okay.
No, I'm just sorting out my stash of useful bits of wood, and some still have screws in it which I'm taking out so I can reuse it.
Okay, why do you have a stash of useful bits of wood?
Because I'm a hoarder.
And the big question that your dedicated public want to know, will you be painting them red? As I was saying, this is my single Fandango dwarf green bean. So I'm going to be sowing more of these. Now, luckily, I've got time. Here in Scotland, we can't be putting these out yet. So all I'm doing is trying to get a jump start. If it doesn't work, I can sow these direct probably towards the end of this month because the ground is warming up. It's just about, is it going to stay warm air temperature wise? So I'm going to sow some more of these in the hope of getting a jump start, because again, my plan for my succession growing is that I'll harvest my beans and have new plants coming along afterwards. So I've got a running harvest or a rolling harvest, if you like. The other one, These are my courgettes. Not a single one took. After me saying, I'm going to sow 4 because I only need 2. Yeah, not a single one. So I'm going to sow some more courgettes. For me, I'm now super behind. Normally I've got courgette big plants by now. So I'm a tad on the anxious side, so fingers crossed for these guys. The other thing I'm going to sow to catch up, I don't even have any to show you. That's how bad things are. Lettuces. Can you believe this? I've had lettuces of all sorts going right through winter, and I can't get any to germinate now. I do not know what is going on. So we're going to be sowing some lettuces as well. So I'm going to get that lot done first. Fandango seeds. Our bean seeds. But it's not a bean, like as in I suppose it is a thingy, it's just dried. Yeah. Random thoughts you have when you can't find stuff in your box.
You don't sow pea seeds, you sow a pea gilly.
Just wondered.
That would have been my thought.
I'm going to sow peas. Dwarf Fandango beans. So let's try and sow another 8 of these. And I'm growing these in my root trainers because these want to have nice long tap roots. So root trainer gives them lots of space to do that, and you don't have to be potting them on so much. Make sure they're nice and in contact so they can get all that moisture. There we go. Hopefully soon we'll have a mate for this little guy. Right, next, courgettes. So you guys ask me quite a lot, what is my system for storing my seeds? And as you can see, I don't really have one. They just go in a box. Aha. Courgettes. So I am trying green bush courgettes this year for the first time. That's far too many, Eli. Reason being, these are meant to be not quite dwarf plants, but quite small. And that's quite handy because it means I can fit 2 in my bed. So same as last time. I'm hoping you can see this actually. These seeds, like pumpkins and what have you, I sow these, I put them on their side, and that way any excess water can run off of them. There's less chance of them rotting that way. And I actually think that's what's happened to the ones I sowed last month. I think actually they were too wet and they've rotted. So here we go. Again, just pressing that down to make sure that seeds are in contact. And that's my courgettes done. Hopefully these ones will take and I can catch up. Now the next one is, as I said, lettuces. So, what am I doing? I've got a few different types of lettuce I grow. So, we've got little lamb's lettuce, or corn salad it gets called. We've still got quite a few of those in the beds, but they take quite a while to come on, or at least it did for me last time. So I'm going to grow some more of them. Hopefully they will come on faster. We're also going to do Tom Thumb, little lettuce heads, so it's the little soft leaves. And I'm going to get another gem going because we quite like a gem lettuce. Don't we, dear?
Yes, dear.
And I'm also going to do a tray of cut and come again salad leaves because we quite like that for a wee salad, sort of on our sandwiches at lunchtime, all that kind of stuff. Again, the one that I did last month just damping off, I've trashed it. So here we go. Okay, lamb's lettuce or corn salad. I grow in these little trays rather than in modules or sort of pots or anything like that. It just lets me keep them going in here a little bit longer before I transplant them. Just a little bit easier to handle that way. But I don't broadcast the way I do with some other seeds. I do try and sow them quite thinly. I give maybe 1 or 2 seeds and just space them out. Make sure they're in contact. And then just a light dusting of compost on top. Okay. Okay, next one then, little gem lettuce. All through winter we were growing a gem lettuce that was a Valen winter gem lettuce. Not doing that now, we're back to our standard gems now. And these I do broadcast sow because they're quite fine little seeds. I just try not to go mad with them if I can. But trust me, we will never have too many lettuces, so however many of these take, we will eat. So gem lettuce now. Again, I mentioned earlier, but just in case you didn't hear me, I'll put a list of all the seeds that I'm sowing and have sown in the description of the video, along with links as well if you guys want to go and check them out. And they're also on our webpage as well. So we have a page on our website that has all of our monthly sowing guides on there, so you can get it in there as well. Okay, so that is gem. And the reason I keep disappearing with these is I'm putting them in a tray of water to get them nice and soaked from the bottom before they go into the greenhouse. Tom Thumb then. Tom Thumb is a little really tight, compact lettuce, kind of like a little rosette. Nice, shiny, glossy leaves. Bit like a gem, but not as upright. And again, I'm just broadcasting these and we'll see what takes. And the wind's just picked up, so there's probably now lettuce seed all over the lawn. We won't tell Kate. next one is spring onions. Now again, we do have a fair amount of spring onions going and they're starting to look great. But it's all part of my plan for my veggie growing that I will keep harvesting throughout. So I want to always have little plants coming on as I'm harvesting the big ripe, not ripe veggies, what's the word? You know, the plants that are ready to be harvested. So, now you guys know I mentioned before I'm growing Ishikura. These were recommended by Steve at Green Side Up. So I've actually got white Lisbons in the bed already and they're looking really good. So go. Now, once these come up, I won't need the label because it's quite obvious what they are, but until then, it does no harm to put a label in it. So rain halted play yesterday, but that was part one because now we are growing and sowing and harvesting so much that it's just going to be a constant thing for the rest of the season. So next time we'll go through some of the cut and come agains and I will be continuously showing you what we're harvesting, how things are doing and giving you updates. But I just thought it'd be nice to end in the greenhouse and I'll be giving you an update very shortly on the peppers. Topped peppers versus not topped peppers. What's the difference? Have I noticed anything? Overwintered pepper, how is that doing? There are some exciting things to tell you about. There's a video coming up on that. As I said earlier, everything you need to know is in the description of this video. So check it out and I will see you soon. See you guys!